At the end of a week, the host had mostly dissolved, but red clots had started to form in the center. At the end of 17 days, they poured all the contents of that water container through this corporal. This is the most amazing photograph I've ever seen. You can see the weave of the corporal here. You can see the cross embroidered in the center of the corporal. And everything else that you see here is associated with this communion host. Well, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the bread of the original host. And everywhere else in this photograph, what you see is where the bread has actually changed into heart tissue. And the scientists that have examined this say that the inner absorption of the heart tissue with the communion host proves that there could not be any human interference with the sample. So what we're seeing is that the bread has morphed into heart tissue as it goes through this area of the host. 3 months into this investigation, they bring 2 additional doctor professors on board to contribute to the study. In all these cases where they bring the scientists on board, the scientists are never told that what they're examining is associated with a Eucharistic miracle. They're just asked to examine it and report what they find. So these 2 doctor professors are working independent of one another, but they both come up with exactly the same results. They say that it's myocardium, this left ventricle of the human heart. They say there are indications that it is still alive. And just before we die, our hearts go into overdrive in order to keep us from passing away. So our hearts start beating really, really hard, fast, and really, really hard in order to get additional oxygen and nutrients to the body. And the medical profession calls that the extreme phase that precedes death. And they see evidence of that within this sample. Anytime we have an alleged Eucharistic miracle today involving flesh or blood, the very first thing that they check for is the possibility that what you're seeing is associated with some kind of bacteria, mold, or fungus. Because there is a bacteria that forms on wheat, and the communion hosts are made from wheat, and in the presence of high humidity or moisture, that bacteria will grow and take on this characteristic color that non-medical people, when they see it, think they are experiencing this flesh or blood, when it's really nothing more than bacteria growing. However, that was ruled out as a possibility in this particular miracle. And then there was no deterioration, despite the expectation. They should have died and deteriorated very quickly. They even did a scanning electron microscope examination, and it confirmed that it had the same configuration as myocardium tissue. So the church ultimately approved that Eucharistic miracle.